Your city, your news. From the campus of the University of Nebraska at Omaha, this is the Omaha News.
Asbestos removal on the campus of UNO. What does it mean to students and faculty?
And the school year may never end for some students if the new chancellor has his way. Good afternoon, I am Mariama Samate.
And I'm Manera Amini. Asbestos fibers that are too small for the eye are leading cause of dangerous form of lung cancer. Cody Banks reports on how some UNO students, faculty, and staff feel about asbestos removal going into the building where classes are being held.
When I first walked in and I saw, the asbestos sign, I did kind of, what? Mentally it was a check because of my military experience. When I see people in what I call hazmat or nuclear cleanup gear, my first thought is, if they're wearing it, how come I'm not? Or why should I be in this area?
Before a lot of this work can go on, this asbestos has to be removed or abated, as they like to call it. It's not something that a contractor can just tear into without dispersing a lot of fibers into the air by state law, various other regulations. It has to be removed before that work can go on.
But how does the asbestos removal affect Torrey's students?
As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't affect me at all.
It doesn't really bother me in the sense that if there really was that big of a problem, I really think the people in charge here at UNO would probably take better care of what they're doing with their students.
Now, Torrey's class only spends one night a week in the engineering building. But what about the students and staff that spend up to 20 hours a week here?
I'm always concerned when there's asbestos because I have asthma and I'm real sensitive to things like that when they're in the air. I like to think that they're doing the best job they can to contain it, but I worry and I wonder if they are, but that's just me.
Senior Lindsay Carsey spends up to 20 hours a week in the engineering building and feels
scared a little bit worried. I wonder if it's being handled properly when you're seeing guys walking around with masks and full body suits and big red warning tape all over the place saying warning asbestos hazard. You kind of wonder if you're safe or not in the building, and since I spend so much time in this building, I work in this building, I have classes in this building, I hang out in this building in between classes, it worries me that I might be exposed to it.
John Amends, the Director of Facilities Management and Planning at UNO, says that a qualified asbestos removal contractor comes in and removes all asbestos. For the Omaha News, I'm Cody Banks.
When removing the asbestos, the contractor section of the area they're working in and use of a negative air pressure machine to contain the asbestos in that room.
Yesterday was another big day for Barack Obama as he swept Mississippi out from under Hillary Clinton. Obama won the state with a gigantic lead of 61% over Clinton's weak showing of 37%. Obama further added to his delegate lead and now sits at 1,610 delegates, while Clinton only has 1,481 delegates.
The next state up to bat is Pennsylvania, which is just under 6 weeks away. On the Republican side, John McCain began his search for the running mate today. Mississippi was the hot spot last night, but at the end of this month, the University of Nebraska at Omaha will heat up. Undergraduates and students will have the chance to participate in a deliberative poll where they will get to share their thoughts and education in the upcoming election. The poll will take place on Friday, March 28th from 5 to 9 p.m.
New York Governor Eliot Spitzer announced his resignation today after being linked to a pricey prostitution ring. Spitzer was replaced by Lieutenant Governor David Paterson. Paterson is New York's first black governor and is also America's fourth black governor. New York GOP was threatening Spitzer with impeachment if he refused to resign.
3 years and out, UNO is planning to implement year-round school, and it could cut graduation times down to 3 years. The University of Nebraska at Omaha is planning to have a year-round education, which is called a trimester system. Chancellor John Christensen says year-round education has great benefits, such as allowing students to graduate faster and less student debt.
What we need to try to do is create an environment that allows students as many options as we can possibly provide them. The one who wants to get through quickly, the student who has to work a lot, and everything in between.
Students would like to keep their summers open, but with a trimester, that would not be possible.
I'm not really a fan of the trimester schedule, just because I'd much rather have a 3-month-long summer break, mainly because summer is pretty much my favorite season, or one of them.
I like the 2-semester system best because you get a summer break.
I personally like how it is now with the summer break, because I'm planning on taking summer internships, and if I can only have a few weeks off between classes, I won't really be able to get into a program for the amount of time that I'd like. A solid 3 months would be.
Students aren't required to go. It doesn't mess them up in their program. The only thing it could do is perhaps enhance their program. If you were around, there might be more courses that you needed, but you're not penalized for not going to school year-round.
There are some people who think trimester is a great idea.
I am really in favor of a 12-month calendar. I feel that that would be much better for students, and I think it's better to spread the vacations out over a 12-month calendar instead of giving them a lump vacation of 3 months during the year.
There is a plan to replace the current summer sessions with one continuous semester. The plan could take effect in the year of 2009. The campus community is encouraged to review the proposal at unomaha.edu/back 12-month plan. Any input from faculty and staff or students is welcome.
And when we return, we go to Denver to witness a volleyball tournament of epic proportions.
And the UNO Maverick wrestling team prepares for another grand finish to another successful year. You're watching the Omaha News on the Knowledge Network.
UNO Television.
Students work with professionals who have all kinds of experience in the industry.
Lights, camera, action. Literally.
Get paid while you learn more about the TV business.
Work on all kinds of productions.
My friends who worked on TV crew last semester are now working part-time at local stations.
Working on TV crew is a great experience.
UNO Television. Student crew, professional staff, award-winning results.
Most local television news only gives you brief headlines about issues that may be important to you. But for more than 10 years, only one program has remained dedicated to examining all the information about issues that really matter to Nebraskans. I'm Kathy Wyatt, and it's my privilege to present those issues for your consideration. Join me on the campus of UNO in a program we call Consider This, every week on the Knowledge Network.
If your days get out of control, reset your attitude by setting your radio to KVNO, Classical 90.7. Discover your own personal oasis of serenity on KVNO, Classical 90.7. Drugs, crime, prostitution, hunger. Visit yesomaha.org and donate to Youth Emergency Services. Help take homeless kids off the streets before something else does.
Once again, the UNO wrestling team is heading to nationals. Nick Peterson reports on what you can expect from the Mavs.
UNO Wrestling is exciting this year with the team heading to the Division II National Championships on March 14th and 15th. Mike Denny is in his 29th season here at UNO, and the UNO Wrestling team is going to be heading down to Cedar Rapids, Iowa for the national championship. The team remains optimistic for a chance at another title, even though one of their top players, Brent Pekoke, was injured earlier this year.
We're going into the national tournament ranked number 2. We're taking 9 guys. We got guys that can score. We got guys that have been there before. We've also got some good young ones who haven't been there before but have been doing really well.
The national championship will be home to 9 UNO wrestlers, which include All-Americans and national champions Cardi Garcia and Todd Manili. In addition, there will be Aaron Benson and Jacob Mars in attendance at the tournament, who have both been number 2 in their division. Regarding the next season, the Mavs will return with more starters, All-Americans, and national champs than any other team. For the Omaha News, I'm Nick Peterson.
The team also held mock tournaments to get wrestlers into the competitive state of mind and they need for the nationals.
In 5 short months, Democrats from all over the nation will gather in the Pepsi Convention Center in Denver, Colorado to pick their presidential nominee. Kirsten Voigt was on location in Denver, but not for political reasons.
The convention center was taken over by 72 volleyball courts and over 5,000 high school volleyball players and over 15,000 people. Colorado Crossroads is one of the junior national qualifier and Crossroads select tournaments. Club teams from all over the nation compete for a bid to the national tournament to be held in San Antonio this year. There were over 15 teams from Nebraska that made the journey to Denver. One of those teams was South Central. As soon as state volleyball is over, these girls start club volleyball. They travel all over the state and play in all-day tournaments against different teams in the area to improve their skills. The highlight of the club season is a long trip to the national qualifying tournament to play against teams from each corner of the country.
Just the experience and the atmosphere of all the girls and the competition is great.
You get to play with the best teams in the nation, and it's a great chance to compete.
These girls represent the best of the best in their division, and they all love playing the game. Teams come from Florida, Texas, Washington, Chicago, just to name a few. Many of these girls use this experience to help them hone their skills. Most of them dream of continuing to play competitive volleyball after they graduate.
Yeah, that'd be a great way to get to college. It'd be a good experience to play college volleyball. It'd be real fun.
An overwhelming majority of the UNO Maverick volleyball players started their volleyball career in high schools across the state of Nebraska. For the Omaha News, I'm Kirsten Voigt.
South Central finished 35th out of 180 teams. River City Juniors received a bid to the national tournament by placing second, and the Omaha Wave finished 17th. For more results, go to coloradocrossroads.org.
With spring comes a chance for growth and love, and KVNO takes the happiness of this season and turns it into donation for the station. Adam Rosen reports on how KVNO depends on its listeners for funding.
KVNO, Classical 90.7 FM, depends on its listeners.
During most of the year, they will send us checks or, a credit card. But it is during our pledge drive that we get them to call in, and that's when we try and recruit new listeners, new supporters. What we are going to do is set up a little call center down in the studios, and we will have some volunteers from campus faculty and staff, and we are set up with computers and phones, and we're ready to take the calls and log them. Right now, we can only use faculty and staff, people employed by the university, so we could use student workers.
And what kind of turnout will the station expect?
We now have 42,000 listeners, and we're hoping to recruit even more supporters. And out of that 42,000, we have about 2,500 supporters, 2,500 listeners who actually contribute, and we would love to get 10%.
KVNO Spring Pledge Drive begins today and will continue through March 8th. You get all of that. For more information or to make a donation, please call 559-5866 or look up KVNO on the web at www.kvno.org. For the Omaha News, I'm Adam Rosen.
KVNO raised about $77,000 during the fall pledge drive and hopes to raise $80,000 for the spring drive.
Pledge drivers aren't the only thing to look forward to in the spring. Warm weather is also a huge plus. And as Justin Tatum reports, Omaha is happy to escape the doldrums of winter.
Spring weather, the sun, blue skies.
The people of Omaha are finally getting a chance to enjoy the spring-like weather.
It's supposed to be nice for the rest of this week, so I think a week of sunshine can make you tolerate a little bit more cold if it gets bad again before it gets nice for good.
It has been the 9th coldest winter in Omaha history. The coldest winter in the past 26 years.
Inside all day, man? No, not my style. It's the first warm day since winter, so why not be outside?
In Dundee, businesses like the Underwood Bar are keeping their doors open.
The weather's great now, but is it going to last?
I have no clue, so I'm enjoying it while I can.
The obvious truth is you never know about the weather in Omaha. But for now, these temperatures will do just fine. For the Omaha News, I'm Justin Tatum.
Forecasts call for temperatures in the mid-40s to upper 50s over the next week. Now is the time to get car washes and also to enjoy outdoors. You never know when Nebraska's unpredictable winter weather will return.
Up next, we speak with Elaine Wells from Nebraskans for Peace.
And later, some Nebraskans are taking a visit to honor their past. Stay tuned. You're watching the Omaha News.
Take a look at UNO and you'll find a school that can pretty much be everything to everyone. We have that big city feel and a sense of community that creates a close, friendly campus. Our professors and resources contribute to our great reputation in the city and the region. So whether you're just starting out, transferring, earning a degree online, or choosing a new path in life, you'll be able to find what you want.
Hello, Mav fans. I'm Tori Pantalian. Join me each month to catch all the news on all the sports at UNO. Watch Maverick Sports right here on the Knowledge Network.
Nebraskans for Peace is a grassroots advocacy organization working nonviolently for peace, justice through community building, education, and political action. Today, our guest is Elaine Wells, chairperson of Nebraskans for Peace. Thank you for coming today.
So welcome. I'm glad to be here.
Good. We understand the group is a peace group, but can you tell us a little bit about the history behind the organization?
Well, it actually started with a group of farmers back in the 70s, and they were protesting the war in Vietnam. And since then, we've just grown and grown. We talk about issues from the level of bullying in schools all the way to demonstrating against weapons in space. So we are interested in peace and justice at all levels.
Okay. And I know it's a nationwide organization, but locally, how many members do you have approximately?
Well, actually, it's a statewide organization, but we're the oldest one in the United States. And locally, we probably have about 300 members, but we mail to everybody across the state of Nebraska.
Okay. And now that in Iraq, the surge, you know, some people say it's working, you know, others think, you know, there's still more ground to be covered. Do you guys still, is there a step down in the demonstrations that you do, or you still on your game?
Well, we think that the war was a mistake in the first place, and personally I believe that anytime you're using guns and weapons to kill people and destroy their property, you're on the wrong track. So we would like to bring home the troops as soon as possible. There are several reasons for that. The longer you leave troops around the world, especially in Arab and Muslim nations, the more likely you are to actually increase the number of terrorists rather than reducing them. So we really believe that bringing the troops home as soon as possible would be a very good plan.
Okay. And I understand you guys have upcoming events coming up. Can you tell us about the events that you guys have coming up?
Yes. 3 in particular. On March 19th, which is the 5th anniversary of the war in Iraq, we're going to be doing a demonstration at 4:30 on the footbridge over Dodge Street at 60th. And then at about 6 or 7, there will be a vigil to commemorate the deaths of American and Iraqi soldiers and civilians. Then in April, on the 11th through 13th, we're having a conference which will draw people from around the world for the global network against nuclear weapons and nuclear power in space. It will be a really fascinating conference with lots of wonderful speakers on the 11th through the 13th of April. And then on the 26th of April, we're participating in the Omaha Peace and Justice Expo at Lewis and Clark Middle School. And we'll have speakers on peace and justice issues, but especially Sam Daly Harris, who's the coordinator of the Microcredit Summit campaign. And that organization has delivered 133 million microcredit loans to some of the poorest people in the world. And through those loans, they're drawing themselves up out of poverty, along with their families and their employees. So it's a wonderful opportunity for Omaha to support peace and justice and to end hunger and poverty around the world. Okay. So we hope people will participate in all those events.
Yeah, hopefully people will. Can you tell me a little bit about where you guys get your funding? Do you have, is it locally?
What funding? Actually, we're completely supported by members of the organization. And we have one aspect of the organization where people can give their money and get a tax deduction. So that's the Nebraska Foundation for Peace. Okay. And the other one is the one that just does lobbying and educational projects.
All right. Well, we thank you so much for sparing the time for us today.
So glad to be here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're watching the Omaha News on the Knowledge Network.
UNO Television.
Students work with professionals who have all kinds of experience in the industry.
Lights, camera, action. Literally.
Get paid while you learn more about the TV business.
Work on all kinds of productions.
My friends who worked on TV crew last semester are now working part-time at local stations.
Working on TV crew is a great experience.
UNO Television. Student crew, professional staff, award-winning results.
If your days get out of control, reset your attitude by setting your radio to KVNO, Classical 90.7. Discover your own personal oasis of serenity on KVNO, Classical 90.7.
Congenital heart defects are the most common birth defect and the #1 cause of death from birth defects occurring during the first year of life. Help save little hearts. Support the Midwest Heart Connection. Go to MidwestHeartConnection.com. Little hearts, big miracles.
100 World War II veterans will leave Omaha on May 21st for Washington, D.C. Organizer Bill Williams explained the event to Laurie Dutcher.
Honor Flight is a nonprofit started 3 years ago by a retired Air Force captain in Springfield, Ohio. The idea is to send World War II veterans to Washington, D.C. so that they can see their World War II memorial free of charge. 16 million Americans served in World War II. There are less than 5 million left. They are dying at the rate of around 1,200 per day. The youngest World War II veteran is 80, so time is short. We need to get this done now. My wife and I read a magazine article about Honor Flight, and we thought, well, why not try to do one out of Nebraska? So we're calling it Heartland Honor Flight, and it's open to all World War II veterans in Nebraska and western Iowa.
Well, it means a lot. I was planning on making that part of a trip if I had the opportunity.
Everybody who wants to go, we want to give them the opportunity. So we're thinking if we can keep raising money that the second flight will go in June and perhaps a third flight maybe in the fall.
So I'm very happy that this opportunity has arisen, and I will be able to be part of the first one this year.
For more information or to donate money, call the Lincoln VFW at 464-0674.
3,000 signatures is all that stands in the way of Jack Kevorkian's congressional bid in Michigan. Kevorkian, a retired pathologist, claims to have helped at least 130 people die and served a prison term for second-degree murder in one man's death. The Omaha News returns in 2 weeks. When we're back, we'll focus on what some students did over spring break.
And this month is Women's Month. We'll take a look at the recent advances in mammogram technology.
For all of us at the Omaha News, thanks for watching.